Well, it's finally happened. I've officially had it up to here with myself, and it's time to kick it into high gear. I have been working on Act 2 of this book. Also, hi, my name is Andy. If you're new here, I'm working on revising my first fantasy novel, and I'm hoping to self-publish. I have been working on Act 2 for way too long, literally way too long, and I've spoken about the deadline I have at the end of February, and I need to be at the end of Act 3 by that deadline. So we need to kick it into high gear. I had a half day of work today, which was awesome, and I'm planning to use the rest of this day to be productive in my own writing work. So we're gonna pack up, we're gonna go to Barnes. We're gonna FaceTime the one and only Caitlin and Brielle. Go follow them if you're not already. And we're gonna get a lot done, okay? You have my word, and I'm gonna take you along for every step of it, of course. All right, no time to waste. Let's get going. Okay, but for real, fit check so fast. I got this leather jacket at a thrift store for $9, and it's real leather, and it had a tag inside of it that was for $90, so. And I also just thrifted this red shirt because I needed something cute and colorful and bright. And these jeans, also thrifted, can't remember where, but I love them. And couldn't tell you where I got this belt. And then I have the most beat up Reebok sneakers in the world. Okay, let's go. Oh, hey. We just finished our sprints, and I'm happy to report that we spent about 2 hours on FaceTime, and I got a lot of stuff done. I got to the end of Act 2, which is crazy because at the beginning of this video, that's where I said I needed to be. So round of applause for me. We did it. And now, of course, I have to reward myself because that's just the way it works. I have a gift card that I haven't used yet from my husband for Christmas. So why don't you walk around with me? And I think I'm going to end up getting My Lady Jane, but I'm gonna peruse, obviously. So let's look around a little bit. And then I think actually when I get home later, I'm probably gonna do more writing with Brielle and Caitlin. So they're just the powerhouses behind this revision for me. Okay, let's start looking around. Mysteries and thrillers, looking around for Alyssa's books. Anybody see Gas Station, Project Sunshine anywhere? The wedding season? Someday soon, telling you what. I don't know if this is a common experience for everyone. I feel like when I started reading, my first book series I ever remember refusing to put down was Hunger Games, and then Divergent, because I'm just a girl, okay? I met a Peeta Mellark. I loved a Peeta Mellark. Anyway, obviously those books are like dystopian, there's a lot going on in the world. It's not just romance, but also romance just really, it grabs you. So I don't know. I understand that not everyone is a romance reader, but is it kind of a common experience that romance is some of the books you fly through? Why is that? You know what I mean? Anyway, just thoughts I'm having myself while I stroll through. I am legitimately struggling to remember where I found My Lady Jane when I was last here because I thought it was in this aisle. But I don't see it. But I'll tell you what I do see, and it is Sunrise on the Reaping, the next Hunger Games installment. I'm pretty sure that this is Hamige's story. Am I correct on that? I'm gonna be eating that up. So, yeah. Oh, this box set? Are you kidding? I'm sorry, I don't know if you can see me. She's stunning. I want this, especially because I can't even find my copy of Catching Fire or Mockingjay. I literally only have Hunger Games at home. This is $93. Suzanne, I love you, but maybe another time. The quest for My Lady Jane continues. I can't even lie, and I don't know if other people feel this way too. I'm sure other people do, actually. Sometimes I see titles of books and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Or I'm just like, that's so clever and I love it. For instance, I think Where the Library Hides, that's a great title. And then sometimes I look at House of Avdos and I'm like, that's all I could come up with? There's so many houses of out there. So if you've thought that when I've ever said that my book is called House of Avdos, I have thought it too. It's what I got, okay? It's what I've got. Not to alarm anyone, but I officially have no idea where my Lady Jane is because I could have sworn to you it was right over there and it's not now. The thing is I don't, like, I'm out here filming in public and yet I don't want to ask for help. That's embarrassing. I'm gonna keep looking by myself. So as it turns out, I'm just a silly girl, and she is right where I left her, my Lady Jane. Though I did just notice the Hawthorne game series behind me, and I read the first one of that on Kindle Unlimited, and I've not read the second one, and I really want to read it. I did already commit mentally to buying this, so I think I'm just gonna have to go with this one, and I know I'm gonna absolutely love it. Here we go, we found her. Let's take her home. I just got home, and as you saw, I got the goods. My Lady Jane is secured, which is so exciting. The sun's going down, which is partially why I'm filming out here, because I just thought one last clip of daylight might be nice. But I do think I am planning to do even more sprints. I am approaching a point where I actually only have like 6 chapters left in the entire draft, which is crazy because draft 2 has literally taken me, I think, over 6 months. So to know that I'm approaching the finish line on that feels really rewarding and also kind of like, okay, what happens next? And what happens next is the book needs to go up multiple levels in terms of skill. And I've been thinking a lot about that lately, and the fact that this draft has improved drastically from where the first draft was and where this book was when I first wrote it. And I know it's capable of getting a lot better from there too. And I was just talking to Brielle about the fact that I think I know I'm going to have to recruit a beta reader or critique partner or someone, whether that's paid or unpaid, who I know is above my skill level when it comes to reading this book and getting feedback on it. I am aware that this story could be better. I feel like I have written it to probably not quite the like top ability that I am capable of, but darn close, you know? So I know that when it comes to like line level edits and making this book really the best polished, refined version of what it can be, I'm gonna need to lean on some people who are better than me, and that's okay because it means that I have great resources that can help me level up my own writing and get better along the way. I've just been kind of thinking about how I want to learn and I want to get better, and I am in no way a master of this craft yet, and the fact that I can accept that and say that out loud means I have room to grow, and that's really exciting. I have this goal moving forward to make intentional time to learn about writing in a different way than just practicing it on my own. I want to learn from other people who are wiser than me and have more practice than me, and then implement those exercises in my own work, whether that be in this story or outside of it, so that way I can go back into the story and be better when I am touching that story. Does that all make sense? These are just my thoughts as I'm thinking about this project and how I'm about to be turning a page into, no pun intended, I'm about to be turning a page into just a whole new set of edits that need to be made on this project, and they're going to be exciting. They'll be a little less developmental. That's where my mind's at. That's where we're headed. Stay tuned for the journey, I guess. The good news in all of this, by the way, I know I was just about to wrap up, but I just had another thought, is that part 3, which I have been, crap talking this whole time saying that it is bad, or not bad, but just like mentally I've been thinking of part 3 as this like needs to be rewritten piece of the book, and it's actually a lot more relevant than I thought, which is so exciting. Don't hear me wrong. There's a lot of edits I want to and will make to it, and it still does need fleshed out. The word count could go up a bit, but the scenes that exist in it, for some reason in my head, I was thinking they were like completely irrelevant, or like I'd changed enough in the book that they weren't gonna stand anymore, and I don't think that's true. So that's exciting because I do feel like in revision, when you approach a scene that just needs fleshed out further, or you just need to make it more accurate, that's so helpful, and for me it's energizing. Like I go into that scene feeling excited and ready, and then it's also just satisfying work. But when I go into a scene that is just completely so bad from a year ago that it needs like either entirely trashed or rewritten from the ground up, sometimes that can feel overwhelming. So all that to say, I'm glad to report that it seems as though part 3 does not need entirely trashed and rewritten. It just needs a little bit of help. Also, sorry, I just want to say I hope you guys enjoyed that Barnes & Noble content. I know I like filmed myself talking in the coffee shop in my last video, but there was no one there, There were people there for this, and I still talk to you guys on camera in public. So I'm growing up. It was scary. People noticed me, and I'm sure they were like, what is that girl doing? But I was talking to you, my besties. Okay, this got weird. I'm gonna go. Hello. I just got home about an hour ago, so I guess not just. And now I'm ready to do some evening sprints, which I think Caitlin and Brielle are going to FaceTime again, which is wonderful. I can't wait because I'm about to jump into Act 3, like actively revising Act 3, which is so exciting because this has felt so far off. Like I'm literally at the point where the end of the book is going to be here before I know it. So that being said, I feel like I could be feeling really nervous about this, but I'm feeling really excited and like I have a very clear idea of what this needs, and I'm excited about that. I feel like I've said excited 4 times. Anyway, I'm feeling confident about it. I know that I'm going to want to take a little bit of a slower approach scene to scene. Not slow as in I'm going to take another month and a half to do this, but slow as in I want all the decisions and changes I make to be things I'm really thinking through. There's been other parts in draft 2 where I've kind of had to make a decision and keep moving, knowing that I can go back and fix it in draft 3, and that's true, but most of those decisions have been things that have not been like fundamental plot aspects to the book. The resolution of this story and everything that happens in part 3 feels pretty fundamental to the book. So I'm going to try to look at it through that lens, make decisions that feel informed based on my outline and like they're really constructive towards where I want this book to go. So that way in draft 3, I'm really working on cleaning up and fine-tuning the third act instead of hopefully having to do any developmental edits. I'd like to be basically through with those unless I pinpoint any major issues with the book between now and draft 3, which it's possible that I do. And if that happens, I'm going to give myself grace and I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the work done to make it right. That's the mindset. All right, let's do a few sprints. Good morning. It's the next day. I got a lot of work done last night with Caitlin and Brielle doing some sprints. I actually got through one of the first chapters in Act 3 from the male point of view, which is really exciting because it kind of helped me realize a few other things that might be missing from his point of view in the other acts of the book. Nothing so crazy that I'm like worried I won't be able to fit it in before I finish up draft 2, but just helped me kind of gain some perspective, which is really helpful. And then I also made a short list of notes of things that I know I'm going to need to do in draft 3. So things like checking the frequency of my dialogue tags. Are they getting repetitive? Do I have them where they need to be? Am I using too many of them? Same thing with facial expressions and the way I'm describing characters and settings. Those kinds of repetitive words I'm going to have to go through and just make sure I'm not using too many of those. So I made a couple notes of things like that I know I'll want to go through and add or change in draft 3, which was really helpful. The other thing I worked on yesterday, which I didn't really share about while I was working on it, was putting together a 1-sentence pitch for this book. I had a synopsis that I wrote after the first draft, which was, 5 to 6 sentences or maybe not even that. It might have been like 3 to 5. It was short, but definitely longer than a pitch would be. So I realized after a live stream the other night that I really don't have a solid pitch for this book, and that's a problem. So I've been working on trying to get something together, and I want to share it with you guys because I think it's what I might start using to describe this book moving forward. So anyway, I'm going to share that, and you'll have to tell me what you think. Okay, so it's not really 1 sentence, but it is like a 20-second pitch, and that's what I've got right now, so we're gonna go with that. At 20 years old, Emery Aftos is given a gift that deems her destined for greatness. But when she dares to cross enemy lines as an undercover assassin, things come to light that have the power to change everything she thought she knew about her gift, her family, and her future. Life, love, and legacy are on the line as she wrestles with one question. Are we defined by the identity we are given, or by the one we choose? Well, it's a work in progress. Hopefully that was interesting to you. I hope. Anyway, that's the pitch I have so far. I'm going to keep working on it. I feel like it could get a little more, compact or succinct. But for now, I feel like that's where I'm at, and it explains the book. I'm gonna stop talking about it. So my idea for today is to go to one of my favorite coffee shops, which you guys have seen many times in my videos, but I'm gonna go to that cafe, probably get a bagel again because I'm a bagel addict, and maybe a coffee. I did already have an iced coffee this morning, homemade, and it was really good. I'm gonna go treat myself to a little bagel and coffee probably, and get some more sprints done. I feel like I'm at a point where if I keep pressing forward, I honestly could really be in a good spot going into my February deadline. I might be able to like completely finish draft 2 and be like ready to head into draft 3 entirely, which obviously I know I've shared as the goal, but I think part of me has really believed that like I'm not capable of getting there. I don't know why. I think it's because I've spent so much time like on draft 2 that the idea of actually wrapping it up feels like it will never come. The reality is that I'm really close. I'm right there, which is so exciting. But I was laying in bed last night thinking about what it will be like to go through and do line level edits and actually like clean this book up, not restructure it. And that feels literally like going to a candy store. Like I cannot wait for that level of revisions because I feel like I'll be getting to interact with my book in a whole new way where the characters aren't stressing me out because I have to figure out what they're doing with their lives. So I'm really pumped about that. And I'm really hoping that draft 3 is less problematic than draft 2 has been. So hopefully I don't shoot myself in the foot by saying that out loud. If future Andy is watching this clip back and she's like, ha, you thought, well then future Andy, I'm sorry, but can't blame me for being an optimist. Okay, let's pack up and get going and get some more sprints done. So I'm on chapter 28, which basically needs rewritten. I rewrote the first scene of it last night, and that worked out pretty good. But the second scene is still true to what the book was before I made a couple pivotal changes in the plot and decision making of my main character. Basically, I've given my main character a lot more autonomy in the second draft than in the first draft. In the first draft, she was kind of told to go do this thing that is the plot of the book. And in the second draft, I changed it to where it's her own initiative, which gives her so much more depth and personality as a character. She's not just someone else's puppet. She's making those choices for herself, which is really important. But anyway, this chapter still exists in the context of her trying to fulfill this desire of someone else rather than her own kind of intuition and desire and why. So I think I'm going to throw myself into chapter 28 today and try to fix it and get it into much better form. It's also only at like 1,500 words right now, which is kind of short. So I think I'm going to flesh it out a bit more, give it more context, more space to breathe, and hopefully provide a lot more insight as to what she's doing and why she's doing it. There's a couple logistical things in this sequence that now, the way they're currently written, don't make sense. So, like there's intel she has in this version, the way that it is right now, that's not true to draft 2. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of problem solving, I think, to find out how she's gonna get that intel instead. Also, I got a hot matcha and Brielle. I'm thinking of you. Okay, come here, buddy. You want to say anything to the people? Well, I'm back home. I gotta say, chapter 28 is giving me a run for my money. She's a tough nut to crack, okay? Are you looking at them? So I ended up procrastinating the way that I feel like all YouTubers probably procrastinate by editing a YouTube video, because it's like a catch-22, okay? It still feels productive, even though you know it's not what you're supposed to be being productive with. So I feel good about that, but I'm back home now. I put on some comfy clothes just to kind of, I don't know, chill out a little bit, see if that helps. This scene that I'm working on is really a huge transition scene between Dark Night of the Soul and heading into the climax of the story. So that being said, I need to take my time with it, and I could just tell that my headspace as I went into it was not the right headspace. I'm feeling better about it now, and I'm gonna give it another shot and see if I don't get distracted by this little guy. Any words of wisdom for the people? All right, let's get some writing done. Hi again. It's the next day, Sunday afternoon, and I was able to get a little bit of work done on chapter 28 yesterday. Well, not a little. I did quite a bit of work, but I was not able to finish it like I had hoped. Essentially, there was a couple key points, like I talked about when I was at the coffee shop, that I kind of needed to just flesh out and see if I could do a little bit more problem solving. Some of the information my character needed to know, there was no possible way for her to currently know in draft 2, but she knew it in draft 1, but because of other changes I made, she couldn't know it in draft 2. So I still need her to know that information, and I just had to find a new way for her to learn it. I was able to kind of brainstorm with Caitlin, figure some things out. She helped a ton, so shout out to Caitlin, and was able to find some solutions, which also spiraled me into making a bigger list of things that need to be added into the book, but I'm pretty excited about those. I don't feel like they're things that are going to be major rewrites in any way. It's just additional information and kind of fun Easter eggs that can be added in. I'm also feeling really excited because I had this vision in my head earlier today of what the House of Aphdos looks like. And I've always had a clear vision in my head, but there was one detail about the literal setting of the house that just came to me yesterday, and it kind of just triggered a bunch of thoughts that felt super exciting, and like this world just continues to gain more texture and become more and more vivid to me. And so I'm very excited to walk back through the book and really put more emphasis on creating a rich and deep world for the reader. I feel like I have those elements in play right now, but they definitely could even be more fleshed out to make it feel like a more complete and real world. Same thing goes for a second location in the book. I feel like I was able to gain even more imagery and just clarity on how I need to describe it. That's really exciting. So I'm starting to feel a pull towards those kinds of details and a real excitement for fleshing those details out in the book, especially now that the plot has mostly been corrected and feels like the heavy developmental edits are coming into a more finalized form, which is very exciting. I even was able to find a little bit of inspiration on Pinterest, which I've never been able to find pictures on Pinterest, at least for the settings in this book, that feel accurate to what's in my head, that makes sense. I mean, I'm basing things off of what I've imagined, not what I see in front of me, but I was able to find some images that really felt like they were in the right realm, I guess, of inspiration, and the photos kind of depicted more accurately, close to at least, what's in my head. So that was really exciting. I kind of went on a pinning spree this morning and selected a bunch of images that I think will really help me continue to feel inspired as I go back through in draft 3 and really just enrich the setting of this book and find different ways for my character to notice it, interact with it, and therefore build the reality of this setting for the reader. So that's super exciting and has me feeling inspired all over again. So this is one of those things that I really do feel like I see as a movie in my head, where everything is so vivid and I just have to find a way to bring it to life on the page the way that it's already living in my head. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, since it is Super Bowl Sunday, which when you're watching this, we'll already know the outcome of the Super Bowl, but I'm hoping that the Chiefs lose. I didn't say that. Who said that? Anyway, I have some plans this evening. We're going to go hang out with some friends and their family to eat some soup and watch the game. And I'm going to work a little bit more on chapter 28 before we go, but I don't think I'll be vlogging it just because I filmed a lot in the last few days and I feel like I just need to spend some time with myself in the manuscript. So sorry, you're not going to get to be a part of that, but I will fill you in the next video with how it goes. So all that being said, thanks so much if you made it this far in the video and came along with me for this little weekend writing vlog. I hope that your projects are all going really well. If you're new here, don't forget to introduce yourself, subscribe, and like, and I can't wait to see you around in the next videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, also, I keep forgetting to mention, but if you haven't already, my Ko-fi link is in the description below if you want to buy me a virtual coffee to continue to fuel me through revision. I'd love that. Thanks so much, guys. See ya.